So, I recently got the official Five Nights at Freddy's cookbook with over 40 recipes inspired by the games. Since this is a FNAF item that was released very recently, you know what I had to do. Rather than step into my kitchen and actually make one of the delicious recipes inside, I read every single page of this thing looking for lore. So, does the FNAF cookbook have any relevance to the FNAF story? The answer? Maybe. First off, before I get started on the possible lore implications of this family-friendly compendium of delicious meals branded as a horror cookbook, I've gotta say that just from looking at the meals inside, I started drooling. I'm not joking, some of the food in this thing looks ridiculously good. Even though the actual meals don't have too much to do with FNAF and aren't ripped straight from any of the games, I do appreciate the amazing editing job done for this book. Whoever Scholastic got to take the photos for this book better get a Cameron Award or whatever you call those things that photographers get. Anyway, let's get started on the actual lore significance of this thing. At first glance, the book doesn't really have anything noteworthy contained within. It's split into 8 sections: Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, how original, Bonnie's Burgers and Subs, Chica's Chicken Choices? Foxy's Pork Plates, Glam Freddy's Faves and Classic Dishes, Glamrock Chica's Breakfast Best, Roxanne Wolf's Sweet Things, and Montgomery Gator's Beverages. Just from that list alone, I can produce our first big lore reveal. Chica is a cannibal. All jokes aside, this is a pretty generous display of dishes, with 120 pages of them, so surely this has to have some lore significance, right? Well, kinda, but it's pretty well hidden. The first thing that really stood out to me was hidden in the crevices of the the Chica's Chicken Choices section. On page 56, we see a fun little Freddy fact. Chica was a backup singer in Freddy's band when the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza was opened back in 1983. So this isn't actually that big of a revelation, because we know Fazbear Entertainment was founded in '83 thanks to security breach. But still, it's interesting to know that this is actually canon. Plus, it says the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, implying that yes, there are multiple Freddy's locations in the game's canon. Hooray, we got something else right. Next up, on little details that probably mean nothing. The recipe found on page 92. The puppets The puppets V-Egg-E Benedict. Apart from being a mouthful of words, this recipe also looks like a mouthful of deliciousness. But I'm not here to talk about how good this thing looks. I'm here to talk about the meaning of Eggs Benedict in the FNAF franchise. Eggs Benedict is a nickname originally given to Michael Afton by Hand Unit in FNAF's sister location. So to see the puppet associated with a name usually tied to the fun times in the Aftons is pretty interesting. This probably means nothing, but it's worth pointing out nonetheless. Right after that, we've got Moondrop's Blueberry Pancakes. Now, if you know my likes and dislikes when it comes to food, which you definitely don't, you'll know I love blueberry pancakes. And if you know my likes and dislikes when it comes to FNAF animatronics, which you probably do, you'll know I like Moon. So this page better have something good. And in a way, it does. But it's also got something very, very weird. First off, the tag at the top of the page states that you'll struggle to sleep at night while dreaming about their yumminess. First off, from my experience, you can't dream effectively while you're awake. And second off, this is a pretty weird thing to say in a recipe for pancakes. Give me a stack of those and the next thing you know I'm going in my seat. But what's even stranger is the note taped at the bottom of the page. It reads, "Don't be duped by the sleepy looking images of Moondrop, because he's a nightmare animatronic during the dark." Oh boy. This, paired with the bit with struggling to sleep, makes me think that Moondrop is older than Security Breach makes us think, and could be linked to Afton's experiments in the 80s. If you've watched my video on Eclipse, which you should if you haven't, you'll know what I mean. Also, it looks like Sun and Moon are now called Sunny Drop and Moondrop, which is okay I guess, but don't expect me to call him Sunny Drop with a straight face. Unfortunately, Sun's page, Sunny Drop's Energy Bombs, doesn't have anything of note, so let's move on to the end of the book. Next up, we've got Foxy's Fruity Cove Cooler. This has been mentioned in other media and is usually associated with the actual Foxy, but on this page we've got an image of Mangle. Nothing too important, but still interesting to think about. The last recipe of the book, Monty's Mouth-Watering Melon Meltdown, has an interesting tidbit of info that I wanted to talk about. On the page, it's mentioned that Monty's Gator Golf used to be called Monty's Wild Golf. If you remember, in Ruin, we saw that Monty used to be a minor animatronic and a small attraction, separated from the actual glam rock band. But it wasn't a golf attraction. This might give us a better idea of Monty's past before he became the bass player of Freddy's band. So, overall, does this book share any extremely important, priceless information? Not really. I was hoping for tally marks on some of the pages or some kind of hidden code, but this cookbook for FNAF fans is precisely what it's advertised to be, a cookbook for FNAF fans. The little bits of information about Chica and Monty are pretty interesting, as well as some of the other notes I didn't mention in this video, but honestly, there's nothing game-breaking inside the book. And maybe that's a good thing, as I really don't want to have to spend hours thinking over how a recipe for fried chicken salad has implications for the lore of FNAF. I'll just spend hours cooking up the delicious recipes that are the whole point of the book. And now that we're on the topic of recipes and tasty food, I'm really hungry, so you're gonna have to excuse me. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's a little bit different to my usual content, but it's always fun to try something new, especially now that it's a new year. So, if you enjoyed the content, and if you want me to continue making videos like this, like, subscribe, and keep on theorizing. If you're still watching, I just want to clarify that I'm completely aware what energy balls actually are, and that was just a skit because I found it funny, and, yeah. Okay, why are you still watching? You can leave now. My guy, why are you still here? You're expecting some kind of secret, aren't you? Like some kind of secret message? Well, there isn't any. Well, actually there is. Subscribe.